Connection with Shade Network activated. Audio file download commencing. Files marked extremely sensitive. Strategic Homeland Division only. Agent commencing transmission.
What's up, agents? You listen to episode 160 of SITREP Radio, giving you the news and other happenings in the world of the Division 2. This week, we're talking about the raid and nothing but the raid. But first, my name is Mike. Joining me as always, my co-host, Robert.
Hello.
Hello. And Luke.
Hi.
And back again. You know him. We love to hate him. It's Borrietheblade.
Hey, everybody.
Hope you guys and our listeners have had a great week, and welcome to any new listeners of the show. Apologies for this week's delayed episode. We basically held off to try and complete the raid. Unfortunately, that wasn't the case. But anyway, we're here to discuss it on this week's show. So yeah, Operation Dark Hours got released last week, boys. How do we feel?
Tired.
Yeah.
What day is it again?
It has been 6 sleeps since the raid.
I don't think
I can't
6 sleeps
believe it.
is accurate. I don't feel like I've had 6 sleeps since the raid came out.
Last weekend, I had no idea what day it was on Saturday.
Did you even sleep last weekend, Boris?
and I was a single parent all weekend, and I had no idea what fucking day it was.
Rob, how are you feeling?
I'm alright. I mean, yeah, the weekend was a bit hairy, although we stayed up to like 2:30. 3 times in a row, I want to say.
Yeah, something crazy like that, trying to kill those
2:30?
fucking dogs.
I'm pretty sure we went to bed at like 3 o'clock at one point
Yeah.
over the weekend. And I know Boris went to bed at 4 because he was still up with
It got
us.
progressively worse, didn't it? Like 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock.
Yep.
Next night we pushed it to 3 o'clock, and it was like, oh fuck, we're at work in the morning. Shit.
Yeah, but it got to this week and we're like, we better kind of rein it in a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, so basically us, who else was it? It was Crouchy, Kabuki, and I think someone else.
Doc.
Haildor, wasn't it?
Eldor.
Yeah, Haildor. We basically loaded
Wonderful.
into the raid about 8 o'clock last week on the first night. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
pretty much, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, just checking because Rob felt like he was questioning it. And basically, yeah, we stayed up till like 2 o'clock in the morning through till Saturday. Took a break Sunday, and then we've spent since Monday trying to beat the raid. And unfortunately, yeah, we could not get past the last boss, which sucks, but it's been a lot of fun. I just want to give a very quick shout out to everyone who's joined us in the raid over the weekend. Kabuki, Crouchy, Neb, Beautiful Dust, Doc Huron from the Locked On Boys. You're welcome back anytime, dude. Tinks, Foxy, Deadlift, and the awesome Rempency. Appreciate the time you guys put in over the weekend with us, and congrats to Tinks and Foxy because I think they've actually completed the raid now, haven't they?
Yes.
Yeah, they played for like after we stopped yesterday, they played for another like 7 hours.
Yeah.
Did you?
I know Foxy went to bed at real
He
early
hasn't
hours
been
of
to
this
sleep
morning,
yet.
didn't he?
He hasn't been asleep yet.
What the
He all
fuck?
nighted it.
He's on right now.
Jesus.
Well, he's not raiding right now as we're recording, but he is like in the game right now. Did you say Zeb too? Don't forget about Zeb.
I put. Was it not Neb?
Yeah,
Was it Neb? Neb.
Yeah, we said Neb, yeah.
Yeah, I did. I'm pretty sure I said
Okay.
Neb.
Yeah. Neb was just obliterating every heavy that came out to those missile controls.
We did forget Serial Killer, though.
Oh, and Serial.
Oh yeah, sorry.
and Serial.
Apologies, dude. Yeah, and Serial. But yeah, a huge effort from everyone because kind of with the raid, you really don't know who's going to stick around and who's going to be like, we're not going to do this. I'm just going to leave. You know what
Dave.
I mean?
Yeah.
A lot of people tend to do that. No, Dave did really well. Like,
How rude.
But Dave
Okay.
Dave made it clear though he can't pull the 6-hour nights anymore.
no, but it's also like you have. I don't know. You can't really get wound up by it. I mean, we sat there for 5 hours straight doing the doggos on Saturday night. I'm pretty sure it was 5-6 hours Saturday
Yeah,
night.
it was a long,
And it was just
painful
like
session, that
we
one,
getting
wasn't it?
pummeled. Yeah, it was fucking painful. I know, like, I'm not calling you out, Luke, but I know you and Dave were just like fuck, I just don't want to do this anymore towards the end of it.
Yeah. I'll openly admit I got frustrated several times on several different evenings. I don't like dying over and over and over again, but yeah. Well, that's, because if I don't mute myself, I turn into what Mike turned into, not last night, the night before, where every time he dies, it's, oh, for fuck's sake. So,
well, it was like, I don't understand what happened, because like I didn't die half as much. I mean, basically from Monday this week, if the audio quality on my end's a bit off this week, I'm actually away with work, and I've been luckily enough, thanks to Rob, to borrow a laptop, and I've managed to be able to join in, do the doggos with you guys, get to the end of the raid, and spent like the last couple of days doing basically the last boss. But I don't know if it's the fact that I've been playing through the terrible Wi-Fi that's here, or 4G, that it just felt like I was dying a lot, or probably had more latency. I have no idea. So I don't know if it was just me, or I had no problems in the early areas.
Yeah,
compared to more before.
We were playing on American servers half the week as well, because half the team was American. And you being on a 4G connection is going to have a high ping anyway. You're going to be on like 300 ish.
Yeah.
So I've been saying to like Rob, like, what the fuck? I feel like I'm firing marshmallows at these people. What the fuck is going on?
I totally forgot about that. Yeah, it took us to the East Coast.
You were hitting them, and then they were running away, and then the bullets got to where you were shooting.
Hey, to be fair, like the shit that goes on with the massive servers, where they're like, oh, you were here, then you were there, and then like all the fair play, because if you can play this game on a terrible connection and still raid and all the rest of it, damn, it's been quite brutal. So that's why, apologies guys, I've been dying a lot this week, but it's been a lot of fun. I just want to very quickly say apologies. I know we haven't streamed this week. I've been away. Rob's been busy, but I just want to say thank you very much to everyone who's dropped by the streams since last Thursday, because it was like Reaper, Not Me Mister, and all the rest of it have dropped by for like 6 hours straight, a couple of days. So huge thank you for all your support whilst we've been trying to beat the raid. I apologize, because I really, like, when we beat the doggos, that was like, holy fuck, we did it. And I know all you guys were ecstatic as well. And like, no one saw it on our end, so kind of sucked. But at least you guys could see it through like Boris and Tinks.
Everyone that would have been in our chat would have been in Boris and Tinks' chat, so it's fine. I mean, I probably could have streamed, but I didn't want to. I don't know. I just like to focus when raiding. I just like to focus on it.
I can't remember.
I wasn't with you guys when you beat the dogs.
Hey, you still haven't done that.
Fuck off, Mike.
Wait.
Game of Thrones' fault.
Yeah. Who starts to watch Game of Thrones when it's fucking raid time?
Half day just to watch
I
Game of
do,
Thrones.
because I'm not going to get up at 3 a.m. to watch it live.
I didn't get up at 3 a.m. I got up at 5:45 to watch it with my wife before I went away.
5:45 in the morning?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm still sleeping.
Sleeping? You don't fucking sleep. That was a cat nap. Anyway, kind of going back on last week's discussion, obviously huge topic, you know, all the ebb and flows in the community with regards to discussions. Last week's major thing was matchmaking. We're on to something completely different this week, but I do want to kind of go back over...
Wait. Is anyone still shouting for matchmaking? Apart from Mike.
Oh, pick me. How do you guys feel about very quickly matchmaking now you've played the raid?
Yeah, probably not a good idea. And I say that having not been on last week's show, where I probably would have been an advocate for it, because I was before we knew it wasn't going to be a thing. However, I wasn't a big Destiny player, which will come as a surprise to fucking nobody. So I only tried one raid ever with a group that already knew each other. I was literally the outsider in that group, so I've never really experienced a raid as an outsider.
Especially with people that you know and you play with a lot as well.
Judging by this raid, the synergy and the communication and the rhythm that you need to get through the separate encounters and all the bosses and the fighting and whatever is something you would not find from matchmaking. You just wouldn't. I'm sorry. there should be something in the game that lets you group up with people that you're not necessarily in your clan with, but matchmaking's not the way to do that.
Yeah, there needs to be some kind of I think we said this briefly last week. Matchmaking isn't possible, but I think some kind of LFG in-game needs to be created. If not, if you're struggling with stuff like that, head over to the 100.io website. You should be able to find people to play with across all platforms. And unfortunately, at the minute, it is down to the player base to kind of get off your asses and basically go find people to play with. We're having to do it, unfortunately. We haven't even been able to find like a full raid team. We've had, Tinks has come in. She's been like, hey, luckily a couple of guys have filled people's spots whilst other people have kind of disappeared. But I hate to say it, Rob.
What?
Were we right?
We're always right, dude.
After that 2-hour podcast basically going, no, you're fucking wrong. We don't need matchmaking. It's a terrible idea.
The only way matchmaking would work now is if they were to strip that raid back. Maybe leave the mechanics and just make it easier by making the enemies less tankier. Like maybe scale it back to like for 4 people and then you could matchmake it.
Well, in other news, no, I'm joking.
No, but, well, it might because then people could learn the mechanics and then go in and do it properly. But they'd have to strip the loot out of it, or strip the loot back out of it. Like
you would need to reduce that very coveted particular piece of loot.
Yeah, you wouldn't be able to get that in the stripped back version. That would be broken.
Right? Yeah, because then nobody would do it properly. They would just farm it on
just
the
take
other
the
way.
exotic and the gear sets out of it.
Yeah, it's difficult. I mean, I kind of checked Reddit, I think, Thursday, Friday last week, and the minute the raid drops, it was surprising to see so many people kind of turn tables on it. Kind of be like, okay, there's no way we would have matchmade this shit. Do you know what I mean? And it was so weird to see people just basically turn 180 on their opinion.
I will say, last week I said, I only answered your question, Mike, for the simple fact to answer the question. But I was not an advocate for matchmaking. But I am an advocate for an LFG feature of some sort where you can easily. I mean, we already have a region chat within the game, so a quote unquote LFG already exists. You kind of can add a tab to the right of the area you're in and type in LFG 3 or LFG 4.
Can I
raid,
just stop you there,
blah,
Boris?
blah, blah, blah,
We
blah.
already have
that
feature in the game. It's called clans.
But you require 4 people to start a clan.
Well,
what if you don't have 4
clan.
people?
It's not really a solution.
It is. Fuck you, it is.
It is and it isn't.
You-
It is and it isn't, because Rob's right. Rob's right. You can search for a clan based off of the parameters you set for yourself, and then it spits out a clan that has set those parameters that you can see. And then you request to join. Now it's on the clan commanders to actually check their shit and accept those invites. If they don't do that, you're back to square one. So that's why it answers the question, but it
I think
doesn't.
it's also down to clan commanders as well, like to basically help set these things up as well. Because like you're gonna have people in those in those clans that are gonna want to run certain things, but unless anybody really pushes to set things up, people are gonna get stuck, aren't they?
Now the clan, it leads to another point though. The clan feature in the game could be a little more robust. Now that a raid is out, now that something that requires 8 people and scale to 8 people is out, that the clan comment page is a little bit to be desired, and then the clan feed in the chat window, you could easily lose actually you will lose messages. So if you put up an LFG within the clan, hey, looking for 5 for the raid, and you have 9 people on in the clan, that message will disappear on their feed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
you could kind of do with like a raid setup page in the clan. So like, use like add raid.
Yep.
Does anyone want to join? And
joins,
then, you just, kind of like how you select people to actually join the raid in the first place. Okay, so matchmaking, yeah, not great. Let's get an LFG in the game. We know they're working on something. Okay, so moving on very quickly, kind of thoughts on the raid, mechanics, bosses, loot, encounters, guys. I know that's like a lot to kind of mull over. Okay, thoughts on dying then. How many times did we die over the weekend? I'd actually be really interested to see the stats on this once. Oh, fuck, no, it's reset, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, if Yannick would have this, that would be killer. Stats with Yannick, wipes? How many times people died and how many wipes?
How many rolls of toilet paper did you go through over the weekend?
The mechanics are brilliant. They've borrowed a lot from other games. I think my favorite is probably the one we got stuck on the most. Well, probably
all of them.
What, the dog or the final boss?
Because it's so simple. Yeah, it's if you don't understand the encounter, it's so hard.
If you don't get it right, yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, we spent almost 6 hours, and
there's
all you need to do is keep the health in a particular.
It's literally 2 things you have to
yeah.
Don't say it like that. It sounds worse.
The more and more we talk about it, the more, yeah, exactly. It's like, we are terrible.
Yeah, but like when the mechanic is just kill 2 dogs basically at the same time.
Stop making it sound so easy.
Yes.
What?
It is easy, dude.
Gotta be honest as well. Sorry to anyone.
I know.
Yeah.
That's
3 times in, and y'all did it Monday
all that
night.
time wasted, and then literally 10 minutes. Oh, they're dead. Carry on.
To be fair, someone jinxed us during the raid.
That was the because
the second boss, wasn't it?
A lot of the encounters are easy.
Yeah, but I think you were still high off the boomer encounter.
They are easy when you think about it. It's just the coordination that makes it difficult. Like, because there's 8 people, it's that more harder than I would compare it to a Destiny raid, because there's more people in chat with their own ideas of how to do things, and then people are running really, like, the build diversity is just nuts as well. Like, everyone's running slightly different builds.
That's surprising to hear, because I'm seeing like a lot of comments on Reddit going, you know, the build diversity is terrible and all the rest of it. But it is quite interesting, you know, because there's complaints about skill power and all the rest of it.
So I think what Rob is getting at is, unless you are running the quote unquote, we'll just say meta, it's just an easiest term to use, the quote unquote meta, which gives you DPS from talents more than actual attributes. If you're not running that, yeah, you might have more red attributes, but the numbers just don't add up when you compare it to the talent. Yeah. So you're not, in essence, you're not putting out the DPS that you could. And then if you don't put hard hitting on any of your gear, now that we know there's more elites in the raid than there were in even a heroic stronghold. So that's where I think Rob was getting at. Like, the diversity it is there, but it wasn't intentional. And then literally a few days later, everyone was farming. We did it the next day, the hour before we all really got onto the raid. We were farming for very particular pieces or something to upgrade what we already had, because we realized we didn't have the DPS. Oh
yeah, we started doing Boomer, and I was like, fuck, we could not get past him. And me and Luke, I ended up being on a fair few hours on the Friday before we raided on the Friday night to be like, I'm gonna basically redo my whole build. And I somehow managed to get like a 15-second cooldown on a pulse, and then we were like, what was it? 3 of us were running spotters, so you were getting the damage off the talents and all the rest of it. Luke, how did you find your build on the Friday onwards?
Fine. Yeah, from the Friday onwards, it was shit on the Thursday, and I realised why now, looking at how I've made my PvE build now, compared to what my True Patriot LMG build was before, is no wonder we died a lot. It's probably all on me for having such a shit build, to be fair.
PvE content in this game is very different to the raid. So having a build for PvE content and then using that in the raid, it's kind of not the same.
Yeah.
Because you're literally just killing elites.
It.
Yeah. I'd probably actually need to rename that build as a raid build rather than a PvE build, because, like you say, they are so much different. So,
Yeah.
but yeah,
I've completely remade a build, and it's
I've remade my LMG build for the raid, and I want to make another one for the raid. So,
Yeah, and now once the word gets out, there will be raid for this raid, at least a merciless build.
yeah, that's kind of what I want to make
for the last. Yeah. But we said that on Friday, didn't we, Rob? Pretty sure we called that on Friday.
Yeah, it's basically insane for this. I was watching Solid FPS earlier, and he managed to get a full set of the demolition set, and he was running that with Merciless, and it basically, they stacked together. Every shot he was getting 10% more explosive damage.
Explosion damage?
That was going to the rest of the team as well.
Holy shit.
So if you had 8 people doing that,
What?
and it all stacked.
And then you're wondering why, we've got speed runs coming into effect afterwards.
And what's crazy is that the DUK clan that's done it in 20 minutes and like 13 seconds.
They're under 20. They're under 20 now. It's 1944 or something.
Yeah, 19 something. And I'm almost positive. I don't think any of them have a complete 6-piece demolitionist.
Damn.
wow.
So imagine one person in that 8 with that, and then a few people running a merciless build.
What I've seen
or something with a
guys,
merciless.
they're all running crit builds with lots of health. And
the guy that's been shoving, that's the wrong word. The guy that's been posting his YouTube content for the speedruns, he posted his LMG build. It's all in German, so I have no idea what he's saying.
Yeah.
Did you watch that one? Yeah, I haven't watched it, and because it's all in German, but I'm just gonna basically pause it at every single snippet of his build because I was curious the first time I watched the speedrun, the 23-minute one. I was like,
basic.
All right, so he's got a Sweet Dreams LMG. I'm pretty sure this is an on the ropes compensated build, but other than that, you don't know what he's running.
It's a clutch build. He's got strained on his LMG.
Oh,
it's basically the SMG build of last update, but with an LMG.
So clutch berserk strained.
Okay, so kind of to get back on track with the raid, Luke, as this is like the first division raid, is it what you expected from a division raid?
Yeah, kind of.
Doing exactly kind of what it because I think we kind of discussed, I don't know if it was last week or the week before, we've spent so long referring to Destiny, and I feel like it does take a lot of elements of Destiny, but it definitely makes it its own thing.
Yeah, I think from the Destiny raid that we tried together, which name has escaped me because I've wiped it from my memory, I think once everybody learns the mechanics and gets the rhythm right, this raid will be quite a lot shorter than the Destiny raid. But I wouldn't say it's any easier or any harder. Again, once you've got the mechanics down to start with, I think it's fucking really, really difficult, as proven by the fact we've not completed it yet. But once you get the mechanics down and that rhythm in place, and you've got maybe a set core group of, let's say, a core group of 4, and then obviously you keep switching members in and out who know the mechanics as well as, you just swap places on the plates and rooms for the dogs and whatever.
You got your builds honed.
Exactly. The more you run the raid, the more likely you are to get the AR, the more likely you are to get better gear because you're basically farming the raid, blah, blah, blah. It's only going to get easier.
By the way, it was I found out today, this data mined, there is a 0.25% to drop the AR from any boss because there's a 1% chance of exotic drop.
Yes.
And there's 4 exotics that drop from the raid.
Yeah,
4 exotics.
Merciless.
They're throwing in the other exotic boss drops into it.
And the chest at the end with the 5 key chest, that is a 10% chance now. It was bugged last week, apparently. It was 1%.
Dude, I would be so pissed if I got a pestilence. All you've got to do is go in the fucking dark zone for 10 minutes. Seriously, that night we went in the dark zone and you had, 4 or 5 pestilences drop. Damn.
I'd be happy if it was a merciless, I'm not going to lie.
That 10% from the raid chest, Rob, is that 10% purely for the Eagle Bearer, or is it 10% of exotics?
Eagle Bearer, I think. But put it this way, Marco's team got 3 today.
Yes, I think I was watching Wids whilst you were watching Solid.
Yeah.
Because they did.
Jesus.
They did 4 runs.
The Eagle Bears.
They wiped twice on the second room, cleared the dogs straight away, and then did the Razorback the first time.
They've all got 3 characters to level 30 now, apart from one of them's got 4, so they did 4 runs.
So the door that was bugged has been fixed.
You can still get 5 keys from the raid, but is a chance drop from the last boss. But,
correct.
Yeah, the rest of the doors work apart from that one with the buttons.
Yes. So then they're getting the Eagle Bear from boss drops.
Because they all had keys from last week. So they all had...
Oh, they're just... So the reset happened today. Got it. Okay. So I'll chime in real quick on because this is my first raid of any sort. Because I never played Destiny, never will. So it makes perfect sense why a lot of the devs like Destiny 2. And from speaking with you guys last week about it, because we did talk about Destiny a lot, and then listening to you guys the week before about it, this in my eyes is practically perfect. You know what I mean? Yes, unfortunately it is more DPS than anything else, but there is a place for certain skill builds. There is a place for certain amounts of electronics that can control the other NPCs or just buff the rest of your team. Now, it would require talents to be unlocked by the other team members, but even still, some people are already running that kind of set, i.e. the spotter. With the pulse.
I felt that really, really helped
15-second
us.
pulse.
I felt
that's ridiculous, dude. Like, I don't know. I don't even know how you did it, and I don't want to run a pulse, but the fact that you did it somehow, like that's insane. So that made a bigger difference to the ones that were running spotter. I like the mechanics. Literally, even though we spent Boomer a day and a half, I love the mechanics. The dogs, the dogs. That's the one we spent the most.
That
on.
was the simplest one to do out of all of them.
And comments exactly like keep them within a range.
This is
no NPCs around.
This is something we should probably state as well. Like, we did probably about three quarters of the raid blind. The last part was basic. It had been a week. None of us had kind of got to like the last boss or anything, and we were starting to get like people that had already done it and all the rest of it. And it's kind of difficult because at that stage you're like, I want the raid done, but I kind of want it blind and all the rest of it. But definitely, like, Boomer, we managed to get kind of... I thought we did really well on it without the laptops, because you have to use laptops. Did we even bother using the laptops in the end? I can't remember.
Yeah,
we did.
A little bit. Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah. So it was quite cool that we figured that out. Yeah, it took us a little bit longer, but I mean, I really like the second encounter with the 3 bosses where you've got the 2 different gases. You really do have to communicate with the other side on that.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, and even if the time is off completely, then you're completely fucked,
I think that encounter is my favorite of the 4.
I think it is. I think that's definitely because it's not so... Yes, it's reliant on DPS, but it's also heavily reliant on teamwork and communication. And that is really where matchmaking like comes into it. Because if you matchmake with like 5 people that don't run mics...
Yeah, you ain't doing it.
Kind of
you're not doing it.
But I did kind of feel like we were moving people around to fit certain roles throughout every single encounter that we did. Even though you had 2 different sub-teams. Like if you feel like you've got someone that can do a particular job or slightly weaker or like someone that's like support, you're basically, I feel like with this raid, they've done a really good job of kind of trying to get you to put people in different roles or different positions that they might not normally do.
See, I was just about to say,
but maybe that's just me.
They've done what the newer Destiny raids have managed to do. Like the old ones from Destiny 1, you would play it and you would have a role and you would do that role every raid.
And I think that's why matchmaking in Destiny kind of sucks, because like you kind of join a raid and you're like, oh, well, I've only stood on this plate for the entire raid. If you know what I mean, Rob.
Yeah. So what?
Like in Destiny.
But like, they've made it so you kind of have to adapt, like, because of the eye mechanic, which is in pretty much all of the encounters, makes you have to change the way you're playing and move, and brings you out of cover, and you can't just sit there and just shoot one thing, move, shoot one thing. You have to, like, if someone goes down, you have to kind of mix it up and play their role while someone else is getting them up. It makes you have to adapt rather than just stick to a certain thing, and if someone dies on their certain thing, then it's just a wipe.
Yeah, I think that's something that we all kind of picked up quite quickly, because I think especially in the boomer room, we were like, oh, well, you can do that job. And then kind of, I don't know if you guys agree, like we gradually, slowly kind of like, all right, dude's down, you get him. Luke, I know you're doing like ads or something, but can you sort out, get on the turret or, shoot Boomer's health?
You can't be just a turret guy. You have to be everything.
Everything.
Everyone has to.
You have to.
Yeah, we did it in the second encounter with the 3 bosses in the plane hangar. One half where it was me, Luke, Rob, and Crouchy. Me and Luke were the panel. If I had the eye, I was like, "Yo, Luke, I got the eye, man. Can you take it?" Yep. And then you and Tinks are on the other side.
Even in the successful run,
Mike,
we actually switched that up, and
Rob
got involved on the panels as well. Yeah,
and Rob started. Because the eye would okie doke us. It would be on me, and I'm like, I got the eye, Luke. I can't do it. And then as soon as I open my mouth, the eye would go to Luke, and he's like, "Oh shit, I got the eye." And he'd run away from the panel, and Rob's like, "I got it." I was like,
it's led to a lot of shit talking between like us, all 8 of everyone that's been in the team for like the past week, which has been a lot of fun. And that Friday I spent time, sorting out my build, but I was also quite interested to see how because a lot of people were stuck on Boomer between like Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and it was quite interesting to see other people's strategies and how they were doing it. So I checked in on like Weezer, down obviously the Locked On guys. They went and ran the raid on, what was it, Friday, and Doc
Friday night.
Doc ran with us, and then he ran with those guys pretty much like not long after, I'm pretty sure. I know those guys are running it again Friday, so definitely go check it out if you see them streaming. Also, good luck. I know they didn't have a very good start last time. They basically spent a couple of hours. Was it a couple of hours? About an hour trying to get one of their guys to like the minimum. The minimum requirements for the raid. So hopefully those guys are geared up to get a little bit further this week.
That can't have been a fun fucking experience, can it? Trying to run this raid with somebody that was literally at the minimum gear requirement. That must have just been a shit
I think
show.
that's the.
I'm not gonna drop any names, Butters. Oh, shit. But yeah, that was a love you, Butters.
Obviously, difficulty is like a huge thing about this. How do you feel about the difficulty of the raid itself? Because everyone's like, it's kind of funny because no one wants to compare it to Destiny, but I feel like everyone kind of went, well, the raid's like 500, so it's gonna be fine, right? No one, I kind of felt like we were like, oh, we'll do. I thought we might get like halfway or 3/4 of the way through, then get stuck, and then maybe have to sort our builds out. But it was like, nope, we kind of got stuck straight away on the first bit. Rob, how do you feel about the difficulty in the game at the minute, like for the actual raid?
I think they got it spot on. I think they've done a really good job of getting that difficulty right. We didn't finish the first week. We got damn close. We'll get it done this week, I'm sure. Because we all know what we're doing now. I think we're going to get, if not tonight, we're going to get through majority of the raid tomorrow.
Yeah.
And then have the rest of the week to just smash the last boss.
Yeah.
But it's like very similar in Destiny. Like it takes a long time the first week because you're working it out, and then after that people are doing it within an hour, which is what's happened.
Yeah, I kind of want to bring that up straight away, seeing as you have completion time. I've seen a lot of people complain, obviously, 36 hours is too long for the PlayStation side to complete the raid first time. I kind of think back in the day
on Xbox as well.
Yeah, it took 17 hours on Xbox. It was only 5 hours on PC, but then I think 5 hours. Well, DUK did it. I don't know what the follow-up team time was with the third team. I would kind of say like the third or fourth team to do it on PC is probably a more accurate time of like normal players doing it. If you see what I mean. Because I mean, like the people that are world first, you know, they're streamers, YouTubers, whatever. And, you know, these guys spend all day grinding and getting literally every single piece of their build absolutely perfect. I'm not saying a lot of people out there haven't already done that on console and all the rest of it, but I have seen a lot of complaints basically saying, you know, the raid's been too long. I haven't got more than, you know, if it's more than 4 hours long, it's too long for me to run it. I kind of disagree with that statement. I don't know if you do, Luke. Could be quite interesting to hear your thoughts on this, because it's the first time through. You're doing something completely blind, and it should take a long time to start with, and then you basically improve.
Yeah, I think in one of the previous episodes of the podcast, obviously not last week when I wasn't here, but I feel certain I've said before, like if we complete this in a day or two, I'll be quite disappointed. Like I wanted to be how I was this week, muting myself because I was pissed off that we couldn't do it, but enjoying it because we can't do it because it's difficult and we're challenging ourselves with the mechanics and the builds that we need and the DPS that you need to put out. I mean, I expected there to be more requirements for different builds, not just literally 6 or 7 people running DPS and maybe one electronics build to keep people alive, or, you know, even boosting DPS like you did, Mike, with your spotter build. But, you know, that's digressing slightly. I think the difficulty is bang on. I love that, you know, obviously people have been able to do it week one. People were able to do it day one. I mean, that's part of the fun, right? Chasing worlds first. But for more average players like ourselves, and obviously other people like that, for it to have gone a week and us not complete it is brilliant. Still gives us something to chase in the game. It's not, oh great, now we've got to wait 3 months for another raid to come out before there's some more difficult content to do. We will enjoy this again next week, and then once you've finished it, you can go and hone your builds and get your strat down so that, like Rob says, you can start farming it in an hour or 45 minutes or whatever, like Wids' team is doing. But there's the other side of that where, you know, every day we went into the raid knowing that we weren't going to finish it because, you know, we weren't that far through it, but you're making progress. And that's what encouraged me. It's like, all right, well, I was really fucking pissed off that we didn't make a lot of progress the first night with Boomer because, you know, we just weren't putting out the damage that we needed to. So we all logged in Friday, improved our builds. Friday night, smashed out Boomer. Then we got through the second boss room that same night, I think, and I went to bed like feeling really happy about the progress we'd made. And then it was the dogs, and then you're like, oh, banging your head against a brick wall again. And then you killed the dogs, and then you're onto the last boss room. And that, I'm glad we didn't go into that particular encounter blind, because I don't think we'd have still figured out the mechanics, to be honest with you. There's so much going on in that final room that how Marco and his team figured it out in 3 hours, I'll fucking never know. But I mean, whatever. But yeah, just the constant striving for that little bit of progress, I think, adds to the enjoyment of the raid. Not only the difficulty and the mechanics of it, but, you know, when you're struggling, but you are finding those little bits of improvement in your strategy and your synergy that let you progress a little bit. That was, to me, almost as good as completing parts of the encounter, because you can see yourself getting closer to the end objective. Yeah,
definitely. I think obviously it's a huge debate in the community right now. PC players, to be honest, we have kind of got it good. You know, you can fire like laser beams at NPCs and all the rest of it. Boris, or are you just putting your hand up?
Sorry.
No, it's fine. And obviously, there does seem to be a huge difference between PC and console with regards to tuning. They need to.
I would love to see some strats from console players, because I guarantee you,
I think we will see
different to PC.
Yeah. Yes, but they have to be, because the tuning's different. You know, you've got input lag. You know, you're not going to be able to hit headshots as hard. You know, everyone's saying like run merciless or run this, that, and the other. But I mean, most of the builds and like the strats are coming from the PC side, and people are trying to use it on console, and it's not working. Then we've got the AI bug, which is probably the main issue, and as console players, you're not going to be able to keep up. And like, let's be honest, it took almost a week. Well, it took over a week for us to almost complete the raid, and we're on PC. And if we're struggling, then what about competent people that are on console? I feel really sorry for the community that is just kind of struggling on that whole, console tuning debate that's kind of.
I was going to say that brings that debate back to the forefront, doesn't it?
Yeah.
About tuning the game differently for console and PC.
Yeah,
but
to be honest, I think if they sort the problem with the rushing ads, it might help a little bit.
I think it will, but you think the accuracy required maybe on Boomer's chest? Like, how bad did we find it to try and shoot Boomer's chest so that like stop him from healing? And we're on PC. Maybe on console, you should have to shoot like his backpack or something. Do you know what I mean?
I'll before we continue on I'll just quickly chime in on the difficulty part. The only thing I would like is I would like for them to take a look at the Reds DPS. I don't know what it was, but for some reason, the Reds wrecked you as hard as, if not harder, than the elite assault and grenadiers that popped out. And this is mainly, I mean, I've really noticed it in the end boss because that's the one we've been doing for the last 3 days. But it was like I almost wanted to focus the Reds more than the flipping elites, because in my head I'm like, all right, I got like 73% DTE, so I can kill them essentially faster. But I'm like, this Red is going to kill me while I'm killing drones while you guys are doing DPS. And I was like, what is going on? Why is this a thing? So that's really the only thing, me personally, just me, that I would like for them to take a look at. I don't want them to change the difficulty at all. I think, keep in mind, this is on normal.
And
right?
on, yeah,
so this isn't even.
This is the other thing. Like you're saying on normal, I've seen people say, call this one the heroic, right? And give us an easier one. I don't think it needs to change, but I do think something needs to be done about console if it's being that difficult to keep up with what we're trying to do as PC players, for console players, that's not right, in my opinion.
Yeah.
There's in my head, there's no argument there. And then if
it's tough, yeah, because this is going back to Division 1, tuning the game, designing the game.
Look at Clear Sky,
balancing the game between the three platforms. Because even within the two console platforms, you have a difference. Right, you have the PS4 Pro that can quote unquote handle HDR, but not 4K to a point, and then you have the Xbox One X that can handle 4K and HDR, but both are barely floating at 30 frames per second. Now you can buy quote unquote esports controllers to aid in certain aspects like medkits and grenades and all that crap. But even then, it's like there's such a big difference between the two consoles. It's like you're almost needing to design the game or balance the game three different ways.
And one of the things I'm kind of thinking about now is like a while ago, I could understand when they were like, there's no PTS coming to consoles. A lot of this could have been caught with regards to NPCs and if, any bugs and issues during that PTS. And I understood at the time why there was no PTS. It was like, okay, it's going to be like a week or two. There's not much point by the time they get updates out to it. But that thing went on for more than like a week or two. It was like 3-4 weeks.
It was
in the end.
It was this first PTS phase in Division 2 was 2.5 weeks.
Was it really 2.5 weeks? It felt like longer than that.
They didn't go into a phase 3.
They didn't.
Phase 2 was extended by 2 or 3 days, and then they cut it the day before. Actually, no, phase 2 was 3 weeks.
Yeah, I thought it was longer than 2 weeks.
Phase 2 was the longer phase. Phase 2 was 2 weeks. Phase 1 was 1 week. Because phase 1 was bug finding, no balance changes, no no changes to the talents that we all loved. Phase 2 came everything else. The talent changes,
the health changes on NPCs and all the rest.
The health changes, the NPC, all that stuff, along with the bug fixes.
Should really have been on console. Now, like kind of reflecting on it, it should have been on that second phase. Should have been on console. Anyway, we're going to kind of move on because I want to try and keep this a little bit less than 2 hours. Just saying. Very quickly, I'm going to go to Luke and Rob on this one. Do you guys think if things don't get changed on console, is it going to kill the player base? I'm already seeing people basically say they're done because of the difficulty in console players feeling ignored because of obviously difficulty in matchmaking and all the rest of it.
Depends what you mean by kill the player base.
Well, I don't know if you guys remember, but I'm pretty sure the PC player base for the Division 1 kind of evaporated. Yes, they came back, but it was really console that kind of kept it alive. And now, because it kind of feels like they're catering toward... I'm not saying they're catering, I'm just kind of saying that PC seems to be the kind of the direction that things are obviously being balanced in. If things don't change for console, do you think it's going to kill the player base on console?
No.
That's why I asked you what you meant by kill, because I think the player base will diminish, yes, because there will be there will be
yes,
people that will keep
then.
trying the raid, and then after, let's say a month, I don't think it will go that far. I think people will figure out strategies and everybody will get better builds, obviously, and whatever. But let's say a month, people will give up. They'll be like, I can't do this, it's too fucking hard, I'll go and play something else. Because people will have a skill limit.
Yeah.
Not everybody can do every piece of content in every game. That's just a fact. So, yes, it will diminish. I don't think it'll kill it, though. I think, the player base for Division 1 was too big. So there will be remnants of that player base around for this game. There will be people that really enjoyed Division 1 that don't really like what they've done with Division 2, and vice versa. So...
yeah, because we've been seeing like comments like, "Oh, the player base is diminishing already," whilst we're waiting for the raid. No, and they're kind of blaming the game. I don't feel like it's the game. I feel like a portion of the player base are the people that absolutely love the game. They're going to stick with it no matter what. There's people out there that are going to kind of go from this game, go to Destiny, maybe go to Anthem if it's still alive, and come back. And then there's like the third core audience, which is basically the people that buy the latest game and then move on to the next game. And that's it. They played the main 30, 40 hours and then they're done. They're not worried about the raid. They're not worried about leveling up and all the rest of it. I just think it's quite interesting to see kind of what happens in the future. But it really depends, I guess, whether the AI problems and difficulty is tuned on console. If they take the time to kind of sort those things out. I wanted to kind of talk about heroic difficulties, but I don't know if you guys want to bother or if you want to move on with that. I will say very quickly, we basically spent the whole time during the raid brainstorming ideas of how we could make the raid more difficult.
Because idiots.
Because why not? Can you think of what any of... I think the Boomer one was like 4 people had to be on the laptop at all times.
Don't use the laptops was one of them.
I thought you guys, you guys said to remove the laptop feature altogether.
Yeah, you can't remove the laptops. So you have to do it in 2 rounds or something.
You just have to shoot them down every time.
Yeah, the immunity stations come up instead of using the laptops to cancel.
Yeah, but I think if you do it quick enough, you can. It's basically you're gonna have to deal damage very, very quickly to sustain it. Otherwise, he's gonna basically destroy the 2 turrets either side.
Correct, which then would mean you have to have the DPS on your DPS sessions on Boomer.
Yes. And then the second phase, I'm pretty sure we discussed something like, obviously you've got the control panels in the middle, and you can kind of take as long as you want, I'm pretty sure. You can kind of take as long as you want kind of switching over, if I remember right.
I can't remember what we said to make that more difficult.
Yes.
But I think I said you will probably have maybe 3 to 4 attempts at switching it over, and that would be it. You'd have to do as much damage either side during those 3 to 4 switchovers, and that would be it. You'd wipe.
Yeah, otherwise, the way you would make it harder is if you don't do it within those 3 to 4 or 2 to 3. Yeah. The middle of the plane comes up, and now you have 2 bosses and the third boss to deal with an entire hangar going from purple to orange every 25 seconds. So you're losing DPS for 20 seconds, and you're gaining DPS for 20 seconds. on 3 bosses and the ads. That's how you. That's how.
But what if they increase the time so it's not 20 seconds? Maybe it's like 30 seconds. You got like an extra 10 seconds. Yeah.
Then nobody.
No,
would
I
play
know,
the
but that's what I'm
raid.
saying. Like these are things because we kind of basically went like, what would Destiny do? Well, they would start taking away mechanics. They would start limiting what you can do. Doggos, what would be the first thing I would probably take away?
The laptops for the.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That would be the first thing to go. So you would have to do it the way we did it and complete the raid.
Not later. Actually, I think the night after, I think we all learned separately that the laptops.
Yeah, you don't need
all
them.
they really did was just remove the aggro from one dog to the other.
Yeah, but that's handy. If you take that away, you don't have that.
It is
opportunity
handy.
One thing
it is handy, but
to make the first 3 encounters harder is just take away that eye icon completely, so you don't know who's being focused.
True. Yeah. Because then you're like, why is Lucy just wanting? And then you're like, oh crap, I got the aggro mic. Shoot Lucy.
Because then you would definitely
hit the
need
laptop
to
mic. Oh crap, we don't have a laptop mic.
Maybe make it random because, like, obviously, if we had Rob taking the aggro and stuff, and the same with Lucy and Buddy and all the rest of it, make it random. So like that kind of puts you in that position which Rob was talking about earlier, where you have to rotate. You can't have the same role. You can't have the same person going, right, I'll take the aggro, I'll drag him over to the other side. You're in a position then where they're like, I'm choosing you. You need to go off and do a certain job now. So that's kind of interesting.
We should stop that there. I feel like we could do a whole episode on this.
Yeah, I'm sure we could. The last one, to be honest, I think the last one's fucked enough as it is. I don't think you need to make that any more difficult. I could be wrong. More drones.
Four heavies every single
more
time.
drones.
Have a pet doggo.
more.
4 heavies and 4 elite doggos every damn wave
at the same time.
That's all you do at the same time. If you ain't got a merciless, you might as well just forget about it.
I was just going to say more drones, right?
Drones.
Just for good measure.
Yeah.
More drones.
Right, should we move on to the state of the game?
Yes, let's move on. But yeah, are you happy with the raid, guys?
Oh yeah. I think that's all we're going to play. And
I'm extremely happy with the raid.
Yeah, that's all I'm going to play. No one.
It's forcing me to play the game even more. Yeah. It completely put my perspective on the PvE and my build into another realm. And now it's like, man, I've been chasing ceramics and electronics for the last 4 days.
Because I was farming for builds.
All right. When have you had time to farm for builds, dude?
That's a good question.
No comment.
Oh man, how many days have you worked from home? Quote unquote, worked from home this week?
Dude, I've not worked from home at all. I've probably had more time. You've had more time to build than me.
Crazy.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. This is definitely a piece of content I want to keep playing. I want to do this raid. I want to get it done.
I want the AR.
But it's all I've thought about for the last week. I was like, I've not wanted to play anything else. I've not wanted to play any other piece of content in the game. I just want, like, let's go. That's been my catchphrase for about a week. Let's go. It's fine. Let's go. We're dead. Wipe. Let's go. Because that's how I deal with it. We're in the raid. Reset. It doesn't matter. Put your differences aside. Let's get it on. Let's go. Yeah. Luke, are you happy with the raid?
Yeah, of course I'm happy, dude. Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, I gotta be honest. I'm a little bit sad we didn't finish it. Like, it would have been nice to do it the first week. And it would have been nice to do it. Obviously, we've spent the week. We were lucky enough to have Tinks and Remy and Foxy and all the rest of it, have some good people join us. And it would have been nice to complete it with those guys. I think that's my real only downside with the raid is that it would have been... I think the most difficult thing is trying to keep the same team together for a week, apart from just us.
See, that won't be an issue anymore because we know how to do it, so it will get done.
Yes.
A lot quicker.
Yeah. But yeah, I think it's safe to say from all of us, we want to see more raids and we're looking forward to what's next for raids in the future. And yeah, it's going to be interesting to see where they take them next. Okay, so very quickly, we'll try and get this done quick. Let's get on with some news.
State of the game.
Okay, so this week's State of the Game, basically, they discussed the raid, title update 3, and obviously the world's first teams to beat the raids on each platform. I guess the biggest news out of all of this, when the raid launched last week, it was basically the first team to win on any platform would get their picture put up in every single White House across all 3 platforms. They have now since changed that, and each team that got world's first on every single platform will have their picture on the platform that they got world's first on.
Yes. That's awesome.
Okay, I think that's a huge... Like, can you imagine, like, Marco's obviously done it on PC, but the guys that spent 36 hours, I don't even think... They mustn't have slept. Because they completed it, Sunday or something like that? It was, out 72 hours or something.
I honestly can't remember when they finished it.
Pretty sure it was, Saturday or Sunday or something like that. And, to kind of put all that time in and not really be rewarded for it, that is a huge, thank you to the guys that have actually changed that, because I think they'll definitely appreciate it. There was supposed to be a maintenance today, working on fixes, but it actually got pushed. So some stuff's getting pushed till next time. Was anything actually fixed in the maintenance today?
No, the maintenance was only 30 minutes today. It says, quote unquote, from the forums, we are postponing the fixes planned for today's maintenance. The planned maintenances will be implemented into the game at a later time. The duration of the maintenance has also been reduced to 30 minutes. Now, if you're listening to this, you already know that. But so the fixes were the NPC rushers difficulty thingy-mabobber bug that was new. That was supposed to be fixed today. The folks that are stuck in World Tier 4 that cannot get to World Tier 5, that was the other fix. And there was a third fix, and I cannot remember what it was because I saw the patch notes earlier today from their first tweet, and they've updated that tweet, so I do not know what it said.
For semi-automatic weapons, maybe?
Yes. But
it
was meant to be, but I mean, we're not sure on when. That's meant to be dropping in Title Update 3.1 as well as some other planned fixes, but we don't actually know an ETA on that, so there's going to be looting junk. They're on about sorting out the scaling of the masks because there's been a lot of complaints about obviously the size of your mask doesn't fit your face in the game, which I can imagine kind of sucks. And obviously the huge AI problems that have now been combined with a different one that is now leading to these weird tanky running AI that are managing to do 180 and then run off with high speed velocity in the other direction. But there we go.
I just remember the third one. What would have been today's maintenance is the patch for ones that had completed it or completed it with a different group from when they started and then hit another wave on day 2. So it would have been our scenario. We started with our 8 on Thursday, Saturday. If we would have completed with a different 8 or a different 4 and 4, the patch quote unquote wasn't dropping for people like that, and you weren't getting rewarded. Well, that was supposed to be a fix today, so that was a third fix that did not get implemented.
Thank you for that. Yeah, I was going to say that because that's obviously a big thing for anyone that actually went in and completed the raid. Most people have been pushing to get it done, and then they're like, "What the fuck? Where's my patch?" So,
exactly. Yeah. So, yep.
Next up, so basically, Title Update 4 is on the way. As I'm sure you already know, Specialization 4 is going to be added with this next title update. Apparently there's more details to follow, and there's going to be more content, but I don't think anything was specified as of yet. Was the boys?
There is going to be a PTS for it, though.
Nope.
True.
Yes. Hopefully, I'm going to say it's hopefully, they take all the feedback that's kind of gone on over the last week and the last couple of months, and they take the time to put a PTS on console. I've not said this before, but
not gonna happen,
I don't think it'll happen, but
It won't.
no, I know, but I think it's needed now. I think you need it. Next up, we've got Roosevelt Island Progress Locker. I'm pretty sure that was
it
was fixed last week. Yeah, we've said about that before. Guns going invisible, everyone's favorite problem in the Division at the minute. I've had it. I'm sure you guys have had it as well.
Yep. And the workaround, if you didn't already figure it out, is just by swapping one weapon from an AR to an LMG and then back to the AR.
Or just going into your event tree and selecting a different weapon and swapping back.
Yeah. Thank you, Mike, for telling me that, because that happened to me in the raid.
Yes, and I was like, I remember the time I was actually just laughing because I was running around with no weapon. But when you're actually in that kind of situation, you're kind of like, kind of need my weapon, because I kind of felt like I wasn't
doesn't
hitting my
register
shots
half your
either.
shots when you've got that bug.
No,
Correct.
no, it doesn't.
Yep. That's exactly what was going on with me.
So hopefully that gets fixed very soon. And also, there's people still at the minute unable to progress into World Tier 5, despite actually having finished Tidal Basin and all the other requirements.
That's...
Yeah, apparently they do have an issue. Not an issue, they have a fix for it, and it's going to be implemented as soon as possible. So I expect we'll see that drop in probably the maintenance in the next couple of weeks. And sound issues. Jesus. How many times has anyone had a LMG go off constantly in their ear over the past week or two?
And I've had it a lot in the raid this week.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will say that for me, it's only happened in the raid. Control points, it never happened. Missions, it never happened. Could be that there's 8 people shooting all at the same time. I don't know, but it's only ever happened to me in the raid.
Yeah, I know, Rob, you tend to have an issue with helicopters as well.
Yeah, they're silent.
If I remember right.
Stealth helicopters.
Yeah. Stealth helicopters.
Also, you get that occasional NPC that dies while burning and just screams for like 20 minutes afterwards.
Constantly.
Yep, I had that one too.
That's all I got.
For those sweet sound effects. And apparently some players in Asia have been stuck in a loop whilst starting the game and are not being able to download or start the patch process. Apparently it's caused by non-Latin lettering on the installation folders. Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of people having issues basically booting the game. Some people are having to re-verify the game and all the rest of it. So hopefully that does get fixed soon. Apparently the workaround for this is to basically rename your Division 2 folder on whatever drive, I guess, you have it located in, to only include Latin letters. Unfortunately, we don't have that issue. But yeah, that's kind of news for this week.
Are we going to skip feedback this week?
No, because I think we've got some good questions and feedback, but we're going to run through it very quickly. Luke, I'm going to pass this first one over to you.
Splatterguts has a build question. Could you talk about your thought process when creating a new build? Where does one start? Such as what guns to look out for, what equipped holstered talents that go well with your other guns, the talents on the gear pieces that can work well in tandem with other talents on your gear pieces. Do you try and use pieces with more mod slots or less? Do you mod slots reduce stat rolls or the amount of them? I have a lot of gear, as most would, and I just need something to base a build on, and was wondering if there are any ideas apart from DPS or skill. Something more specific, such as bleed damage with status effect combinations, like a hybrid build, that sort of thing. And do you see them being viable in all aspects of the game? Thanks, lads. Have a good week.
Pick the weapon you like. So which weapon type? Then pick a chest perk that you want to use. If you're running in a team, then Berserk's probably better than Unstoppable Force. If you're running solo, Unstoppable Force is always good. Then yeah, the rest is kind of whatever.
I think it's important to know what content you want to use the build for first, isn't it, as well? Like, obviously, you don't want to do such and such if it's going to be a PvP build, and vice versa.
Yeah, you don't want to be running a shitload of damage to elites and then you're jumping into PvP. It wouldn't be the best idea. But yeah, definitely kind of build around whatever weapon.
Yeah, that's my start point as well, to be fair. Like, content, weapon, right. Let's go from there.
Yeah.
Yeah, also knowing or finding the knowledge of what brands drop what type of attributes and, if any, gear mod slots. So you understand what to look for. So if you need, let's say, a Alps backpack, that may drop 2 blue attributes, and that'll help you towards your build. Know that, okay, Alps drops two blues. Or if you need one of each, then you got to understand which brands drop one of each, But then that brand, it goes even deeper than that because it can drop even an offensive mod slot or a utility mod slot, depending on the name of the brand. So it can get deeper than just figuring out a brand and going with it.
Yeah.
So,
And
but
then you've got to kind of factor in
building
RNG
around the
as
weapon
well.
you like. Building around the weapon you like. If you're an AR SMG, go AR SMG, and then figure out the talents you want and build around the talents.
Perfect. Okay, moving on. Andre Rafferty from YouTube says, enjoyed Boris on the podcast last week. Great chat as always. Thank you very much for checking out the podcast on YouTube. If you don't know already, we are on YouTube and you can check out full episodes over there.
C-Master GMT said, hi boys. Finally got to listen to last week's episode on my iPod was not cooperating due to my PC rebuild. I really enjoyed the topic of matchmaking and I am still of the opinion the matchmaking needs to be in the raid. You're wrong. Never mind. Give everyone a shot at the content, even the casuals who don't have 7 other friends to play with. However, I do agree with the point that if the matchmaking is included, people will likely get frustrated, rage quit, then get on social media and bash the game. For that reason, I agree that the devs made the right choice. Okay, so he did. Yeah. Okay. That being said, if developers sent everyone a golden ticket to Wonka's Chocolate Factory, there will be people who will bash the devs because they didn't actually inherit the factory in the end. What?
I think it's the fact that you've got everyone having a golden ticket and then the people being pissed off if they didn't get picked to win at the end. If everyone got a golden ticket, because you can't.
The devs have stated very clearly that the raid is diabolically hard. They should include matchmaking with the caveat that you play the raid at your peril. If you matchmake, I am fortunate to be a part of this community and have been invited to be in groups to raid. Not everyone has that opportunity and now locked out unless they find a third-party app or stumble into a Discord, etc.
Yeah. Just kind of jumping in there. Yes, there's Discord groups, there's Twitter, there's also Facebook. There's obviously the 100.io that we keep banging on about at the minute. Definitely go check some of those places out. I'm not sure if the Division Tracker have got an LFG going, but you know, PC and Division isn't the only way to get a group together. There are other ways. You've got the communities on consoles as well. So just find some friends. Reddit have like LFG groups as well. So there's plenty of ways to get people together. If you are interested, we do have a Discord. If you do want to join a Discord, that might help you out. Okay, next up, Not Me Mister says, not a question, more a comment. After listening to last week's podcast and watching some of the streams of the raid, I have to say the dev's decision on matchmaking is the correct one. In-game LFG would be nice to have, but in lieu of that, anyone bitching only has to go to their search engine of choice and search for Division 2 to LFG rather than searching for porn like they normally do.
Man's got a point though.
Yeah. I do feel like that is a bit of a case at the minute. If you spent less time shouting about getting matchmaking in the game and actually just go find some people and go have fun and play the raid. Well,
stop bitching on Reddit and use Reddit
anyway.
For LFG. Because you can't do that, by the way.
Yeah.
I
make friends.
I went on Reddit this week and and I commented instead of just reading. And I said I actually been name dropping the 100.io a lot, actually. And then somebody, I can't remember what the post was. I don't really care. But all I said was, or you can LFG with all the people whining about it on Reddit, because I'm pretty sure there's more than enough for you to make a team.
Yeah, and all those 8 people turn around to you was like, fuck you.
Mind you, my comment at the time when I checked back at it had like -2. So,
dude, that's on like -102 now. Anyway, back to what you were saying. If that is beyond them, then they probably shouldn't be attempting the raid anyway. Yeah, I'm pretty sure we said this last week. If people, it's difficult because if you really want to raid, you're going to go out and you're going to get people and you're going to find people to go raid with. That is literally what they're trying to push people to do. They want people to be sociable and all the rest of it. For those moaning, the raid is too difficult and only for the elite like us. Damn right it is. That's the point. Julian stood up at E3 last year and said raids were going to be the most challenging content ever put in the game. They kind of proved that right. For the casual PvE player, you have LZ with way more to do than there was ever in the first game. And with the raid, you have a very challenging end game content. Best of both worlds. I've also noticed with the raid views on Twitch streams have been well up from what they've been recently, either on par with Destiny 2 or well ahead, which has to be a good thing.
I just
Thank you
want
very much
to
for your
add to that and
feedback.
say we've all made friends this week.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Dude, the people we like, the people, the rat, like, fuck, I can't talk now. I'm so tired. Like fucking Crouchy, just random times who was done, and they just yelp out and just, like making us all laugh. And you had Dust and like all this shit talking between us with like the Reza guys and all the rest of it. It's been a lot of fun. Luke, I've saved I think the best for last.
Oh, it's our Gamescom buddy, Cheshire Cat. So Cheshire Cat says, I can kind of understand why people are moaning about it being too difficult. It's the first time that something this difficult has been in the game. Nothing has ever been close to that level of difficulty, not even the incursions from Division 1. Not saying that the challenging difficulty of the raid is a bad thing, but I can see why they say it, seeing that it's the first time that not everyone can participate in Division content, which hasn't been the case before. It was more of a, you either want to play it or you don't, it's your decision kind of thing. Not a, if it's too hard for you and you can't adapt or don't have the time to properly adapt, well, then you can't play it, even if you want to. I guess that's why people feel excluded from the content they want to play. Sure, many might adapt, watch videos, try to get better builds, won't give up until they manage to get through the raid, but I still wonder if it would have been that bad to implement different difficulty levels so that everyone had a shot at experiencing and completing the content. Again, not saying that the difficulty is a bad thing per se, but maybe it's a bit too much for a community that is used to something different, maybe even never experienced a raid and therefore don't know how difficult it can be. Cheshire then quotes a Johan post from Reddit that says, the raid is very much designed to be the toughest challenge yet in the history of the franchise. It is built around the idea of a well-coordinated team with good communication. That said, raid difficulty is certainly feedback that we have been looking at since the release of the Dark Hours raid, and it is not outside the realm of possibility that tweaks will be made moving forward. Now, just addition to that, the guest on today's State of the Game, whose name completely has gone out of my head with Hamish, did say that, yes, whilst Johan was telling the truth, they have absolutely no plans as yet to change the difficulty of the raid.
Yeah, sorry, we did kind of miss that in news. Currently, they have no plans to change the difficulty. They kind of feel like it's in a good... Did they say they feel like it was in a good place?
They said that they appreciate and have been reading all the feedback, but at the moment, there are no intentions of lowering the difficulty. So what we got and what we have is what we're going to have. They didn't say anything about Title Update 4, maybe possibly bringing another difficulty to it. So that could be a thing. And the guest was another one of the newer community developers, Chris.
Yeah, sorry, if you're listening, sorry, dude, I forgot your name. You've got on State of the Game, though. You've been on twice now. So.
Yeah, Chris is sound. He sent us some sweet game codes.
Yeah. He said he put it out there. He made I think it was more of a personal comment versus like, I don't want to say the word PR, but PR comment, stating that the devs were really upset with this whole NPC aggression bug that happened, and that they're not happy with the fact that it's crept up, and they are working extra hard to get rid of it because it's something they created. You know, it's the AI team, it's Drew's team, it's Drew Cena. Mm-hmm. And for them to hear about it after a big Title Update 3, now all of a sudden the raid drops and it's like, yo, this red is chasing me around the map trying to smack me when I have 0 health. Like that just isn't something that they wanted to hear, hour 1 or hour 2. So that's when he went and said that was really cool.
Yeah, I think I'm going to be honest, this is probably the main reason they're not changing the difficulty. They're going to try and get this 3.1 out there, Title Update 3.1, see if they can fix like the AI bug issues and all the rest of it that's going on. Hopefully that will sort things out for a lot of people, and you will probably see more people actually completing the raid, especially on console. But we don't know. We'll have to see what happens.
Going back to Cheshire Cat's comments about the difficulty levels of the raid and stuff, I think the community shared knowledge that will be going around as more and more people complete it, and more and more raid builds get made, and more and more strategies come out. I've seen Streamer House videos, I've seen Marco and Wids' videos, I've seen the DUK German clan guys who are doing the speedruns videos. There's an Italian clan who put a doggo video out.
Yep.
The resources are there already. And as I say, there's community shared knowledge of people just talking in Discord and saying, oh, we do it this way. Oh, and we do it this way. And then when you're grouping up with different people, like when we grouped up with Neb, he was like, oh, yeah, if you've got a Merciless, you can 3-shot the Chungas. And then you've got, obviously, Foxy and Tinks have done it. So next time we group up with those two, they'll be like, oh, yeah, well, when we get to this bit, how we did it before, let's try this next time and blah, blah, blah. People will figure out how to do the raid at this difficulty level. And then they will figure out how to do it quicker and quicker and quicker. And like we said earlier in the podcast, people will then start farming the raid for the loot that you get from it. So while I agree with Cheshire at the moment that yes, the raid will be too difficult for people as it stands, us included, because as we said, we've not completed it yet. I don't think we'll be having this conversation in 3 or 4 weeks' time. I think most people will be like, okay, when's heroic mode coming out?
Well, if they need any ideas for heroic mode, I'm sure they can give us a ring. Just saying. Okay, some very final bits. So we actually had some nice podcast feedback this week. So first one is... yeah, we did.
Hang on, whoa, stop. Are you saying the other feedback that we've already read out was not nice?
Those are questions, dude.
No. Just saying the last couple. No.
I mean... Were they questions?
Potato.
Yeah, that was a question. Okay. Yeah, it was kind of... sorry, reviews then. Review feedback. Yeah, so that's a better way of putting it. From these two are from iTunes, and I felt we kind of ripped into a few the past couple of weeks, so I thought I'd get some nice ones on. First one is from Solo Flyers, and they say, not elitist, this and other games need to stop catering to people who will likely only play 10 hours in 6 months. They're passionate gamers and enjoy having a challenging game that rewards dedication and provides long-term enjoyment, like Games as a Service should be. If you want a cookie and participation trophy, this might not be for you. But if you enjoy getting better in games and the Division overall, this is a great cast to listen to. Thank you very much for posting the review, and thank you very much for listening. Jigglenut says, love it. That is an awesome name. Awesome name. It says, I've just started listening to the podcast and I really enjoy it. Very informative. Greetings from Nebraska. Xbox. Fluffy Nut.
So is iTunes, or his or her iTunes username is Jigglenuts, and his or her Xbox username is Fluffy Nut.
Yeah, I take it. Jigglenuts was taken.
Nice, dude.
I want to say thank you for listening. If you've listened this far, I apologize for any Xbox comments made.
Yeah, definitely don't go back and listen to old episodes
in the future. Okay, we love all consoles and platforms.
Yeah, don't lie to the new listeners, Mike. Come on.
Dude, you've got a big Xbox in your house, so shut the fuck up. I was waiting for you to go disagree, but there we go. Robert. Well, before I say that, thank you very much to everyone who sent in questions, feedback, and obviously, these are just our thoughts and comments on all the news and, obviously the raid. If you don't agree with us, if you do agree with us, please send us your feedback. Let us know what you think of all the topics we've
argue with us
and all the rest of it today, because we appreciate
Come at me, bro.
it. Yes, argue with us. We love it. Come at me, bro. Robert, can you please tell the listeners where we can find a Kawachunga dude?
You can find us over at SITREP Radio on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube, as well as our personal accounts. Send any questions or feedback for the show to sitrepRadiopod@gmail.com, or you can find us on the Discord. The link will be in the show notes. We want to hear your thoughts on the news and topics we cover, so be sure to leave a comment and join the discussion in any of those places. Luke?
Please leave a review of the show using the podcast app of your choice. We really do enjoy reading them all. The feedback is excellent, and at the end of the day, it does help other people to find our show. If you listen all the way to the very end of the show, you will hear all the juicy details about the other awesome podcasts that are available on the Mash Those Buttons network. Thank you.
We do live stream as often as we can, so if you are interested in dropping by and watching us die as many times as we can, please head over to SITREP Radio, not SITREP Radio, twitch.tv/SITREP Radio, as we play The Division and probably some other games, but maybe not. Very quickly, I want to say a huge thank you to Borrietheblade for joining us on this week's podcast and last week's. Can you please tell listeners where they can find you?
Thank you very much for having me, guys, these last 2 weeks. It's been pretty awesome. If not all the way awesome. But you can find me at Borrietheblade everywhere, Xbox Live, PSN, Twitter, Instagram, Uplay.
The moon.
I'm there. but I'll probably take about a week to add you on Uplay. Sorry, beautiful dust. Awkward. But yes.
How long is it since you turned your Xbox on? You personally, because I know Xavier's probably playing on it behind you.
Oh, me personally? When did I get a PC? Oh, I remember when I was trying to get a shield done on the damn Xbox at Division 1, and I said, yeah, no, I'm good. So 9 months ago.
Add him on Xbox.
Yeah, please go check out Borrietheblade on Twitch and Twitter, and you do some awesome streams as well. And you're probably 9 times out of 10, I expect you're playing with us. So I just want to say a huge thank you for putting up with us 3 shit cunts for the last week.
Fucking
last week,
wow.
Motherfucker. Let's try 3
let's be
years.
honest.
What?
The last week has been pretty fucking ragey between a load of people. So it's been good fun. We appreciate it.
Yeah, it's been awesome, man. It's fun. So much fun.
Thank you. Anyone else? We good?
What?
Robert?
We're good.
What?
What you want me to do?
Luke?
You're saying dance, monkey?
I've read my bit. Fucking hurry up.
Oh my God.
I love to hate you guys. Okay. So we have been SITREP Radio. Thank you very much for listening, agents, and we will catch you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Sequence complete. Security protocols deactivated. Server data replaced and CPU destroyed. Terminating connection in 3, 2, 1.
You're listening to a Mash Those Buttons podcast. Visit mashthosebuttons.com for a full podcast schedule.
Cargo secure.